Yeah, good. But you got your clearance, no problem?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
They're within their rights to be like, sorry, we don't have your strip yet. But now, especially in modern times, especially going to French Valley, that was a tech route, right?
It was tech right here.
Yeah, so they're like, the computer's like, here's your tech record. Congratulations. Yeah.
Actually, they didn't. Oh. Yes, it was. Yeah, it was. Like it was ODP to Limbo.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Victor 64.
Yep. Seal Beach.
It'll be then it's fine. So yeah,
The-
I guess it was.
Interesting. Maybe the ODP doesn't start, or sorry, maybe the tech route doesn't start until Seal Beach. Is that possible?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Then maybe it is not. Maybe they didn't accept tech route.
But if you said as filed and you filed the tech route, then it must have. With
Yeah.
just a couple of changes, with the because when you called for clearance, were they like, did they say did they read? It's interesting because at this airport, they never tell you just fly the ODP. Like when I'm living in San Bernardino, other airports, they're just like fly the San Bernardino obstacle departure procedure. But here they're like, they kind of read it to you.
Yeah, like
Did they do that too?
170.
Yeah. But it was the ODP.
It was the ODP.
Yeah. So interesting to me that that's how that happens.
We've done it in the class in the sim, so
Right.
it was just exactly the same. It's like, wow,
you could have just told me Torrance obstacle departure procedure. Like competent pilot know how to look that up. That's fun. Did you file on the way home too?
No, we went PFR home.
Okay.
But long story short, we filed the IFR, but we got vectored until the initial approach fix.
Oh, you mean on the way to French Valley?
Yeah, so we actually all the way over the ocean, but tech route is like you go
it's inland
in a canyon.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
yep.
They were just factoring us on the ocean.
Yeah. Okay. How far out? And what altitude were you?
We were at 6,000.
Okay.
No, we were at. No, they like told us altitude.
6,000. Interesting.
They told us altitude and heading, everything, but it was ending up at our initial approach fix.
So fascinating.
Yeah, so like we, like the needle was like
right. You're just like heading mode the whole time, basically.
Yeah.
Hey, sometimes for traffic that happens.
Yeah.
This is why it's so fun, I think, to learn how to fly in Southern California in this airspace, right? SoCal Tracon's the busiest Tracon in the world by no contest. Second place is like a distant second place in terms of number of operations. So, I sometimes watch a lot of aviation YouTube, and like every time I see these videos, these little reels of people like being like, craft clearance is so easy, and their craft clearance was like, cleared to your airport as filed, climb maintain 6,000, squawk 6. I was like, I have never will we ever get an as filed, like that is ridiculous. They're like fly direct. It's like that is not SoCal. It's just not. But it means that then when people who train in that environment come here, they need to go up with a double I, right? They need to be like, oh, what's happening? Whereas we can go, you'll be competent and to go anywhere in the world and fly IFR and pick up a clearance. And then they're like, as filed. You're like, cool, never written that before. Sounds great. Sounds great. Yeah, amazing. Wow, good times. Any other surprises or interesting things that happened on that flight?
On the way
Morning,
back,
Chris.
close to Santa Ana Canyon, there was a parachute operation.
Oh yeah.
But we were like 1,500 feet above, but they were like, oh, watch out. And they were vectoring us. Maybe I don't know, we don't really cause wake turbulence, but they wanted us to go around.
Yeah, hitting a parachute would be a bad day for everybody. So that makes sense. Not today. Down Watsonville, right on the VFR chart. There's a little picture of the parachuter, and sure enough, I'm on flight following, and I'm about to get transferred to CTAF. I'm like 12 miles out from the airport, and on CTAF, there's like attention all aircraft, parachute operations beginning in 5 minutes over Watsonville, whatever else. I was like, are you kidding me? And Watsonville's pilot controlled, and I had no experience with that. I never, learned about it in ground class, read about it in books, but what do I do? And then they switched me over to CTAF, and you could hear the drop plane making calls on CTAF like they're supposed to, and they sent the parachuters away, and Watsonville has 4 runways, right? 2 pieces of pavement. It's pilot controlled. It was busy, and there's parachuters. It's like, note to self, never parachute at Watsonville, first of all. And second, it's like I literally didn't know. And so at one point on CTAF, I'm getting like, 3 miles. I'm getting close to, pattern. I just said on CTAF, I said, anybody have eyes on the parachuters? And somebody was like, yeah, the last one's about to land. I was like, okay, thank God. I don't even know how long does it even take? I've never been skydiving. Does anybody know?
We did
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Constant of gravity and then the yeah, exactly. Got my E6B out, wind correction angles for where they're gonna land. Yeah. That would have been baller. Amazing, amazing. Side note, as you all are getting more, advanced in your instrument training, you're probably going to be thinking about your cross country time, except for you, because you will not think about that till commercial.
I have a 250.
Cool. But you don't have the 50 hours PIC. No. Yeah. So for the rest of you who are thinking about 50 hours PIC, it's common and probably recommended because it's efficient with your hours to do some of your commercial cross country requirements while you're finishing instrument, right? Towards the end of instrument, because well, you're going to need that cross country time anyway. So you're going to need the flight time for commercial. You might as well just be efficient with the hours. And one of the big requirements is the 250, 300 nautical mile.
There's a 250 and a 300.
There's a 300 for commercial. I think it's a 300 nautical mile cross country with landings at 3 places, blah, blah, blah. And it's under a section called solo, but there's a little addition to the reg that says, or you can go with an instructor as long as the instructor is basically just a passenger, right? And I believe that they put that in the regs because some insurers don't allow student pilots solo for long distances, for example, or certain aircraft. For example, we can't fly solo in the Technos. Our insurance doesn't allow it. That's very common in like twins, is what I've been told. So the FAA didn't want to say oh, if your insurance doesn't allow it, then you can't do your commercial long cross country. Just take an instructor, but they can't say anything. That's called performing the duties of pilot in command, PDPIC, some people call it. So your instructor signs your logbook, but you don't get dual received. It's not training, and you're not supposed to get training. The instructor is just passenger princess on that flight. The problem is, I think there's 2 problems. One, I believe that the purpose of that requirement is to build confidence and to prove that you, as a commercial pilot candidate, can go far. That's the furthest I've ever gone in an airplane, to Watsonville and back. And I also learned things going solo that I definitely would never have, learned the same way had I been with an instructor, including the parachute story I just told you. I had to PIC my way out of that one. I don't know. And then the other thing is that once you do the 300 nautical mile, morning Belver, once you do the long one, you have to do the other things in that section, either solo or PDPIC as well, which includes 10 takeoffs and 10 landings at night in a airport with an operating control tower, which in the summer can be a little tough because night doesn't start till late. It has to be an operating control tower. So if you did that long commercial cross country with an instructor who was PDPIC, you got to bring an instructor PDPIC for that, as well as night. There's a requirement for a certain number of hours at night.
And then that just costs more for us, right? Because we got to pay him.
Well, it depends. If you got academy package, this is why some people I think like PDPIC, because their logic is like, I already paid for the hours. It comes with an instructor. Why not bring the instructor? If you're ready to play in solo, I don't know, or club students, I don't know how that works with the pricing. But I still recommend.
Club is pretty expensive.
Academy is less expensive on the whole, but if you're doing flight training, if your goals are different, right? Those of us in the academy, I think most of us are on a pathway, I assume, to be professional pilots. Well, maybe not. Maybe they just want to fly for fun or go to Catalina or, I don't know, hop through the clouds every now and then.
That's the hobby.
It is, but that's the life we live. So
our kids
that I hope not. God forbid. God forbid. Maybe our country's dead, but maybe not our personal debt. And so anyway, I do recommend doing that long commercial solo if you can stomach it, because it's a great learning experience. And then it gives you more flexibility for the nighttime as well. You can just be like, oh, my schedule's free tonight. I'm just going to go do a few laps at Long Beach, or I'm going to do a few laps at Whiteman or John Wayne. It's like the only tower open late now because night starts really late.
Does this flight know that you did the landing on a active tower?
It does not. So when you click that report in your logbook, your commercial logbook, it does not know if the tower was open. So you cannot trust that. It does not know. So you need to go back and you will be expected to prove in the beginning part of your check ride for commercial that you actually did all 10 of those at an airport at night with an operating control tower.
Oh, so
Either solo or PDPIC, depending on that.
That's when like the time like comes into play, right?
Yeah. So when does night start tonight in Torrance?
So,
For logging a night takeoff and landing, what time does night start? That kind of night.
sunset.
Yep. Which is what time
is
tonight?
6. Oh, 8.
Holy moly! It says it exactly 8 p.m. Did you know in ForeFlight, if you go to the airport, and then at the top it says sunrise and sunset, and then it has a little like right arrow. Click that; it'll tell you all your times, including for the coming days. Morning civil twilight, sunrise, sunset, evening civil twilight. So that makes it easy for logging. Yeah.
Sun's being consistent this week.
It sure is. Look at that. I'm getting a little earlier every night, but that's it. We're on the flip side of the solstice, so moving towards winter. Anyway, you would need to do those takeoffs and landings in order to log them at a place with an operating control tower that's open after 9 p.m. Where is that? John Wayne, Burbank. I can't remember how late Long Beach is open. I think they're open until like 10:40, 10:30, something like that, maybe at least 10. So it's something to consider in the summertime because it's just night starts late, which is the beautiful thing about summer. Cool. Well, as a little warm up, let's do a little more here. Before we jump into our sort of mock check ride, let's talk a little bit about the ACS, which we did more on the last round than this round. I just want to make sure everybody's kind of on the same page about how this works, because this is the scorecard for the check ride, right? It's like, unlike other tests or like job interviews, they literally tell us exactly what's going to be on the test, and they literally tell us exactly what's expected. So we can use this to our advantage. I am consistently surprised in the hangar. Sort of like I would call it sort of like a general laissez-faire attitude towards the ACS, meaning like, well, I know there's 3 approaches, and I know I'm going to have to do some steep turns, or I know I'm going to have to do this. And people not really understanding in depth, like, well, what does that mean? What are the standards? What's expected? And that applies both for the ground knowledge as well as for the flight. So just want to do a little quickie review. I know you've all passed private pilot check rides, but wanted to take a quick peek here. The table of contents is super helpful. They've arranged this by area of operation. This is pulled directly from 6165, right? So the regs say in the practical check ride, you have to demonstrate pre-flight prep, pre-flight procedures, ATC clearances and procedures. 6165 Charlie, when I mark you off in your logbook after a flight or a sim, this is basically 6165 Charlie, right? There's a similar thing in 141, but this is pulled directly from the regs. But then the regs only say pre-flight prep, pre-flight procedures. What does that mean? That's where the ACS now gives us explanation. Well, pre-flight prep means pilot qualifications, weather information, cross-country flight planning. Cool. Et cetera, et cetera. So each one has an area of operation and then a task. So you can see, even just from the table of contents, I know that, for example, I'm going to have to do some flight by reference to instruments. Not a shocker. But I'm also going to have to do recovery from unusual attitudes. Let me click on that. This is flight by reference to instruments, task B. And each one has an objective, knowledge, risk management, and skills. So for example, for the recovery from unusual flight attitudes, you have to first of all talk about it, the procedure, how to prevent them, including physiological, environmental factors. This is where all the stuff from week 1, ice flags and the illusions would come in. That's why that could be totally fair game on a check ride, because they're testing you on task B, right? Knowledge K2, for example. Procedures to regain VMC after inadvertently flying into IMC, and appropriate use of your autopilot, if applicable. Definitely applicable here. That's why we talked about that blue button, that blue level button, and the life-saving blue level button. Oh, spatially disoriented. Oh, accidentally flew into a cloud. Click that, levels the wings, get you straight and level. Nice. Not if you're like a 60-degree, stalled spinning spiral towards the ground. The autopilot has some limitations too. And then risk management. So what are situations that could lead to loss of control? What are unusual attitudes in flight that might do it, right? Task saturation, etc. Spatial disorientation. SoCal giving you vectors all over tarnation instead of just letting me go as filed. You promised me as filed, and now I'm over the ocean. That's all like sort of like could increase our workload, and therefore increase the likelihood that we could have a loss of control. considering operating limitations, flight instruments, et cetera. All of that's fair game. And then the thing that we most focus on, which is the skills section, which is what do you do in flight? Well, you have to use proper cross-track and interpretation to identify an unusual attitude, including both nose high and nose low. So how many unusual attitudes are you gonna have to do on your check ride? Minimum two. Minimum two. And you're gonna expect one to be nose high and one to be nose low. Use this to your advantage. DPEs are typically pretty efficient people. If your first one is nose high, you know, be careful because they can do more than one, but probably the next one's gonna be nose low. So just keep that in mind. That's what the ACS requires of the DPE and requires of you. You have to put in the appropriate flight controls, right? Power input and aircraft configuration. And you have to do so using your own resources or crew resource management as appropriate. That's for unusual attitudes. Every task is the same one. Knowledge, risk management, skills. Sound good? So as you're getting closer to, and anytime you have time, I recommend if you have, this is a thing to read cover to cover, right? This is the absolute governing document of a check ride. So the warm-up question was, what kinds of approaches are required? So just looking from the table of contents, we can answer part of that. Area of operation 6, instrument approaches, non-precision and precision, missed, circling, and landing from an instrument approach. Cool. So precision and non-precision. But we have lots of different kinds of precision, non-precision. If we keep scrolling here, in the introduction, it talks about the concept of the ACS, and then there's a whole appendix at the back. Don't skip that. Including appendix 1, super important. Eligibility, what happens during the test, who does what. Oh my God, I can't imagine somebody doing private instrument in the same check ride, but I guess they have a provision for that. That sounds wild to me, but okay. Oh, yeah, no, but this is gonna be me. Once we get 141 examining authority, right?
That's you can become a pilot.
I'm gonna apply. Yeah, the FAA has to approve us, and then obviously, I'm too junior to do that now. But you apply now, and then hopefully in a year the FAA will approve me. That's the plan. Yeah. Once we get examining authority, once we get examining authority for 141, then no more DPs. It'll be like final phase check is your check ride basically. Yeah.
Is your concern a role in Mosaic?
They passed it yesterday.
Yeah, so I am not up to speed with Mosaic. I know it's all a buzz. I'm sort of letting other people figure out what it means and then tell me. But
yeah, they tested yesterday, but
yeah,
they said it's gonna take another year.
Okay.
To go in effect.
Okay.
To affect us.
Does it let us go into IMC?
Yeah.
Really? That's the whole point of Mosaic.
I thought.
Oh my God.
That's what Derek told me. He said that we'd be able to go into.
Well, that was the hope.
But it's not. It'll take a year to take effect.
Okay. This is what I want people to figure out, and then just tell me. Cool. There are 3 outcomes from the check ride, right? Letter, a temporary airman certificate, a letter of disapproval, or a letter of discontinuance. Letter of disapproval and letter of discontinuance will say the reasons for that. So, and you need to bring those back when you do come back to finish your or retake your exam. And if you get a letter of disapproval, it'll not only say what task and area you were unsatisfactory on, but then you also then need to go get and prove that you got training on that from an authorized instructor before you go back to retake.
Who gives you the letter?
The DPE.
He didn't give you the letter.
He should have. He absolutely should have. If you have, you have to get one of 3 things: temporary airman certificate, letter of discontinuance, letter of disapproval.
He just told me I was disapproved, and then he didn't give me.
So how did you go back and then how did you do your retake then? Because you're supposed to prove that you got additional training on the areas you were
Well, he just told my instructor, like, oh, you gotta sign the IR card.
Right, you got to do the ACRA again. But did you retest with the same instructor with the same DPE?
I haven't retested it.
Oh, okay. So that's something to ask around then, because my understanding is that you should have been given a letter of disapproval. I don't know. Maybe you can look in the IACRA and see if it's there.
Physical letter.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, so maybe you can access it on
Double check.
but double check, because when you go for a retake, because IACRA knows it'll be a retake, you have to check off the box that says it's a retake.
Check the
Um,
box there.
yeah. Exactly, but the DP will expect you to have soon. I've always been told they expect you to have that letter, so they can see, right? Okay, oh, it's a short field landing, cool. Let's just go up and do the short field landing then, right? Because if you do the retake within a certain amount of time, this is all in the appendix. If you do the retake within a certain amount of time, you can get credit for the stuff you already passed.
Is it different if you get if you felt the ground?
Nope, you still should get the same letter, and it should say exactly where, what area you were not, where you were disapproved.
Maybe he didn't give me one because he said we're gonna do the whole thing. Because I told him what area did I miss, and I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. We're gonna go when you do retake it, you gotta
Who's your DP?
Derek.
Derek?
I'm not there. What is it? Dean.
Interesting.
He's like, oh, don't worry about it. When you come back, we're gonna.
This sounds strange to me, Chris, because
yeah, I know. The whole thing was strange to me.
yeah, that sounds strange. Maybe we can talk after because that sounds strange. You're supposed to get one of those three things. I mean, it literally says so in here, and the truck rides are not supposed to have any real gray areas, right? There's not supposed to be a lot of room for judgment. There's, it's pretty straightforward. It's Dean's truck ride, Martin's truck ride, Cat's truck ride. They should all be the same because they're all using the same standards, in theory. Obviously, there's people, there is some discretion here, right? Like the DP has to do at least one nose high and one nose low unusual attitude. There's nothing that says they can't do more, but yeah, interesting. Okay, maybe we'll talk more after. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to get to is where does it say you have to do 3 approaches? Because it did not say that above. And it's in Appendix 3, Aircraft Requirements and Limitations, Use of Flight Simulation Training Devices, credit. Instrument Approach Procedures. This is Appendix 3, Section 6. So it's super buried. Basically, if you have a GPS that does RNAV, which we do, you have to do an RNAV approach. That's the first thing. It doesn't say that up in the earlier parts. So one of your approaches has to be Purple Needle's GPS. Now that could be LPV, it could be LNAV, it could be Circle to Land, but it has to be on Purple Needles. The standard here is 3/4 scale deflection that we've talked about. Now the non-precision approach, at least one non-precision approach must include a course reversal, procedure turn, hold in lieu, etc. And the applicant must accomplish at least one procedure from the initial approach fix without the use of autopilot and without the assistance of radar vectors. So one of your non-precision has to include a procedure turn, and one of them has to include from the initial approach fix, not vectors to final. And one of the non-precision has to be on partial panel. So for us, that means no primary flight display on the G3X. So that means in order to do all 3 of those, you're probably doing 2 non-precision approaches, right? One of them partial panel, and one of them making sure you're doing procedure turn from the initial approach fix. And then the precision approach, this is where they clarify that a precision approach to a DA. So basically any approach that has a DA, so including LPV, counts as precision. But note that the partial panel has to be on the non-precision approach. So there's really no point, I don't know, maybe this is a little too extreme, but in terms of efficiency of training, when you're doing partial panel practice, practicing partial panel on an ILS or an LPV approach is good practice, but it's probably not going to be on your truck ride. Probably that partial panel is going to be on a non-precision approach, just with lateral guidance. Yeah. Cool?
Yeah.
Great. Awesome. All right, nobody's on the Zoom today, so it's just us. Team, we're going to start this truck ride. Here's my plan. I last time used a random number generator to kind of just sort of call on people randomly. I'm going to plan to do that again, just to kind of keep the questions a little even. And also that means any of you could be called on the question at any time. This is chill, right? Like we're friends here. This is the 7 a.m. crew. We have a good time. We laugh. The point here is to like,
no more jokes now.
No more jokes. Yeah, exactly. I got to put on my serious DPE hat now, and not give anyone letters they're supposed to get. That's so wild to me. But the idea here is just to like uncover areas of knowledge where we're weak, uncover areas where we have questions. We can pause, we can go in depth. We're going to take a long time, right? Then the rest of this week to kind of go through everything in the ACS. In a real check ride situation, your instrument ground is probably a couple hours, give or take, right? That's probably what's happening. So we're really gonna labor it and take our time. And if you get called and you don't know something, you can pass, you can phone a friend. This is chill. I don't want people to, this is supposed to be just, a simulation, but a simulation that's friendly. Yeah.
Were you one instructor?
I am one word instructor. Yep.
Come first. Let's check to.
Oh, good luck. Oh, you're also 141. Okay, so everything I said then about the cross country applies to you too. You're both 141.
And the one. Yeah, the first one, yeah. Great level. It's so easy.
The improving control phase check.
Yeah.
We love it. Yeah. Who you with Paul?
Uh,
It's a Wednesday. You can see our Wednesday. Yeah.
Paul's not here.
Okay. Oh, he's an Oshkosh. Guess who's doing it?
Eric.
Oh, great.
Oh, dude.
Eric and Paul, I think, are the only ones who do it right. Eric's chill. Eric did my eval flight. Oh, shit, that's a lot. But he's you'll learn stuff. Yeah, cool.
Are basics open book or are they?
Yeah, just like a check ride for the ground core. Yeah, absolutely.
Like
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just not in the air. You can't look up anything.
Yeah, exactly. Like you got to know how to like fly. Let's see. Primary and supporting method. How fast should I be keeping my scan up? Yeah. What is air traffic control? Yeah. Of course. Yeah. All that stuff is fair game. You need to end up in an FA course, right? It's part of the reason I like Pilots Cafe and also the Flight Insight. They'll reference you to the AIM or to the FARs. So you need to end up there. But
There's always Google the question and then far aim after.
exactly, right? That is what got me through my commercial beginning of my commercial phase commercial check ride ground. Literally.
Oh, you're talking about 9167.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah. Exactly. I love it. Yep. So it's the DPs love that. Amazing. All right, team. So let's get started. The way the check ride will obviously start is making sure you're qualified. So let's just do a quickie review. Part 61. What are the requirements to come to this check ride? Wayne, what's one of the requirements to come to this check ride? Good.
Government issued photo ID,
Good.
medical,
Yep.
endorsement from your instructor to say.
Yep. This is all for part 61 people and 6165. For you 141s, you need the certificate of graduation from the course, from the 141 course, right? And then it's the school's responsibility to say you met everything that's in in 141 Appendix Charlie and everything that's in our school's, I don't know what they call it, I forget the name. There's like a letter we have that approves our course that you've done everything. But technically, if you roll in with that certificate of graduation, that includes even a logbook review. The DPE is supposed to just be like, cool, let's do the check ride. And my understanding is that is actually how it works in real life. 6165, here are the requirements for part 61, folks. You have to have passed also the knowledge test, so you got to bring those results. You have to have gotten all the appropriate training. 40 hours actual or simulated instrument time. 3 hours of that must be in the last 2 months. Getting ready for the calendar months, getting ready for the test. You have to do the long cross country, the 250 nautical mile per the regs here. So the DP will be looking for that before you even start. You also have to have, where does it talk about the cross country? Here it is. It's right here at the top. I missed it. The 50 hours of cross country PIC, of which at least 10 must be in an airplane. Anybody fly other categories of aircraft? Okay. So they'll be checking all that, right? For your medical, what class of medical do you need, Wayne?
Third class?
Third class is fine. Yeah. Could you take this check ride on basic med?
Yes.
Absolutely. You can take any check ride on basic med. You can roll into your ATP and take it on basic med. It's not recommended, but legal. Yep. DPEs can be DPEs on basic med. Flight instructors can flight instruct on basic med. It's pretty nice. And who knows, is there changes in Mosaic to basic med?
Yes, something about weight category and I think a few 172s you can throw in your like sports.
Great. Okay, so maybe even some more changes as it relates to potential our medical. Awesome. Cool. All right, so you're qualified. Now let's talk about let's, then they'll take your money, they'll sign IACRA, you'll sign the privacy notice and the pilot bills of rights, and the truck ride will officially start. So let's start then with pilot qualifications and pre-flight operations. Talk to me about the privileges and limitations of the instrument rating. 2, 3, 4, 5. I've given you each numbers in my head. Jacob, talk to us about the privileges and limitations of the instrument rating.
You can fly an IMC,
Cool. What else?
fly on IFR flight plan,
Great.
fly class alpha airspace.
Cool.
You are supposed to be at bar at nighttime.
Yep. Great. And then that comm stuff. Yep. Perfect. Great. I sometimes think about these two as like together. So like 1, 2, 3, there's like basically 4 main privileges, right? I can actually go into the clouds. Wow, cool. I can go to class alpha with my sling. My sling up to 18,001. Special VFR night, and then the commercial stuff. Once you're commercially rated, in order to take passengers at night or greater than 50 nautical miles, you have to be instrument rated. Cool. Nice. Those are the main privileges. Let's talk about limitations. Chris, talk to us about some of the limitations of instrument rating.
I was gonna say 66 hits, but
That is what I would say too.
Yeah.
Most of the limitations of this are about currency. Yeah, go.
so
Hit it.
within the 6 preceding months, 6 approaches to be done.
Okay.
Holds. Was intersecting no, not terminal,
Phone a friend. Somebody.
turn
Tracking you. It was on the tip of your tongue. Yep.
systems.
Using nav systems. Yeah. Electronic nav systems. Yep. There was one error though. You missed a very important word.
Proceed.
Nope.
Calendar.
Calendar months. 6 months from today. What was 6 months ago today?
20.
It was what?
June 20.
6 months ago. Today's July 23rd.
Jan.
So January 23rd would have been 6 months ago, right? What was 6 calendar months ago? Any day in January, right? January 1st, really. So anytime from January 1st till today is 6 calendar months. Or you can count backwards, right? July, June, May, April, March, February, January. Oh, that's surprisingly hard to go backwards. It's faster than
Yeah.
in months. Right? So 6 calendar months, if I'm looking back from today, takes me to January 1st. If I'm only looking 6 months, it only takes me to January 23rd. So those are different lengths of time. Just be very careful. 6 calendar months.
You get more time with calendar month.
Yeah, you get basically the whole month of January bonus, right? Like it's like cool. Like or put another way, if you do your 66 hits at any time in July, how long is my currency go? When does my current if I did my 6 hits today, when does my currency expire?
January.
Let's see, July, August, September, October, November, December, January.
Yeah.
That's a lot easier to go forward. What day in January?
30th.
Well, there's 31 days, but it's January 31st. January, the last day of the week. Yeah.
Damn, that means if you do it in February, you're screwed.
Same thing for medicals though, right? Like it's better to do your medical kind of earlier in the month because then you get it's whatever it's medicals are also on the calendar months. Maintenance is on calendar months, right? So with maintenance, you might want to actually kind of wait till the end of the month or the very beginning of it, right? There's like you can play with it a little bit to make this working to your advantage.
You actually get screwed over in the leap year, right?
No, you get the 1 extra day. You get 1 extra day of currency. That's a calendar month,
No, but
right? So you get 29 days instead of 28. Yeah. Bonus. Cool. That's the main limitation. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit more about that. Say I did a month ago, right? So like say June 23rd, I did 5 approaches and one hold. Okay. So January 23rd, I did 5 approaches and 1 hold. And then today I did 1 more approach. When does my currency expire? Yep. So hold on. I want to know the date. So hold it in your mind. I'm going to use this thing to call on somebody. I did 5 approaches and a hold last month, June 23rd. And I did 1 more approach today. When does my currency expire? Moon.
When you say hold, I'm assuming you were intercepting and tracking.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, to me, intercepting and tracking, you can't do an approach without intercepting and tracking, right? Like if you, it's wild that says that because like, I guess there are some approach types. There's something called the precision approach radar, I think, which is like somebody talking you down. I guess that wouldn't count towards that, but every approach that we typically fly includes intercepting and tracking NASA using the electronic net system.
Right.
Yeah.
But to answer your question.
Yeah.
Since you did the last approach today.
Yeah.
It is valid until any days in January next year.
No.
It's not.
No. Because this is a backwards looking, this looks backwards. Okay. This looks backwards. So let me draw it out the calendar here. Sorry, it's this.
So you,
I'm just gonna put month numbers up here if that's okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12. Okay.
there's no people on today.
It doesn't look like it. No. I'm scared off by the distraction. So I did 5 approaches in the month of June. And I did 1 approach in the month of July, right? This is the scenario. So the question is, when does my currency expire? So if I look back, right, because I have to have done this in the last 6 calendar months. The last 6 calendar months where I have 6 is actually those 6 calendar months. So my currency expires December 31st. Here's why it's not January. Let me draw this for January. January, if you look back.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like this. So you only had 1. You only had, starting January 1st, if you look back 12 calendar months, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you only had 1. Yeah.
So technically you can do 5 approaches on the December 31st.
Correct.
And in January, you still not current.
No, if you did, let's do that. So let's say I did, now I'm going to add, all right, so we'll do 5 approaches last month, 1 approach this month, and 5 more in December. So when do what's the 6-month look back period where I have 6? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So then, right, January, if I look back, January 31st, I look back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. That's now the green. I guess it's the same as the blue. Now I'm current, but I'm only current until what date? January 31st.
Yeah.
In this scenario, if I then look back once February comes, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm not current because in that box I only have 5.
Right.
Yeah.
What if you do 5 in December and 1 in January?
Then it ends at.
Right. So 5 in December. And if it helps you to draw this out, you can. That's fine. You can do this in the ground. But check right. What was the scenario, Chris? 5 in December and 1 in January?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll just start it here. It's 1 month. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think that takes us all the way through. Well, I think it takes us all the way through June 31st. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, takes us all the way through May 31st. Now we're getting a little bit like I should have done a real spreadsheet there.
So the best time to do it is 5 in December and then 1 in January.
Yeah, sure. Or whenever you can, right? But like this, I'm glad we're going over this because it's important to realize that the look back period, you can think about this as like a looking back in time. And this look back only goes as far back as 6 months. So it's sort of like when you have airline points and at some point the airline points expire or credit card points, they expire. After 6 calendar months, all 5 of these approaches expire. They no longer count towards your currency. So that's why, then if we click forward here, this doesn't count. These 5 approaches in this scenario, they're not counting towards my currency because it's more than 6 calendar months ago.
What if you like doing a bunch of approaches every month?
Yeah.
Does it like would your currency just keep going and going and going?
But let's talk about like you all are flying approaches like wild right now, right? So like how many approaches have you done this month?
This month.
Let's call it 20, right? Like that's not unusual, right? You're flying a lot here.
Yeah.
Maybe you did 20 approaches this month. This is the 7th month. Can I erase some of these just so it's a little easier? So this is the 7th month. I'm going to do 20 approaches. I've never done an approach before. How long is my currency good?
6.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 till the end of January.
So they're not including the month that you did.
That's the beauty of calendar months.
Right.
I think the verbiage is
Preceding.
the 6 preceding calendar months.
You get it.
Yeah, so we're actually sort of getting 7 kind of, right? Or
Yeah.
6 plus the fraction of whatever month we're in now. Yeah.
That's why it's better to do it like in the beginning of the month, right? And then you get a little extra more days.
Yeah, or the other way to look at it is like, okay, well, if I did 20 and then I didn't do any, well, I have all the way till January 31st to do all those, to do my 6 before my currency expires on February 1st, right?
So right there, if you did 20 and on the 7th,
Yeah,
and
in
it goes
July.
all the way to January, what if you do another like 10 on the 10th? Would it
Okay,
expand?
let's talk about that. Right? Yes, right? So then if say I want to go fly in December in this situation, how many 6 hits have I done? Right, assuming there's a hold, at least there's got to be at least one hold in somewhere in there, right? Don't forget your hold. Make sure you log that sucker. That's why in ForeFlight it says holds and you just put the number. They don't care where. There's got to be at least a hold. So I'm assuming there's a hold in these. If I want to go fly in December, how many approaches are contributing to my currency? 30, right? I would look back 6 calendar months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that would be everything here. So I've got 30 approaches counting towards my currency, right? In this scenario, if I wanted to go fly in March, how many flights are contributing to my currency? How many approaches rather? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, right? If I want to go fly in June, how many approaches are contributing to my currency? 0, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0. I am not current.
So with that being said, flying 20 on the 7th and then 10 in October.
Yeah.
You'll be current until June.
Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, you'd be current till April. Is it
6 calendar?
6 calendar months to do the 6 hits. Preceding 6 calendar months. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So the key thing here is that they expire, right? They don't keep going. You just sort of look back 6 calendar, not sort of, you look back 6 calendar months. You got to have the 6 hits in that 6 calendar months.
Yeah, the holds, what can we count as a hold?
1 lap.
We have to do a whole lap.
My understanding is that you have to do a lap. Like a procedure turn, that's not a hold. You just did a course reversal. You only did the entry. Where's your crosswind correction? Where's your headwind tailwind correction? FA wants to make sure you know how to do that. Staying on the particular side. Yeah, absolutely. You do 1 lap in the hold after VOR alpha at Fullerton, that's a hold. That's it. You click the box. You go out to the practice area and your instructor's like, hold to the southeast on the 170 radial of LAX and left turns. You do 1 lap, you've done it. Doesn't have to be published, but it has to be hold 1 lap.
That's not very relaxed regulation.
I agree. Basically, the only hard part is this, right? That's the only hard part.
I think,
But you're shooting more every day. What's the
yeah,
average?
no, but if you fly an airline, that's different than story.
Oh, that's true.
Correct. Correct. And I don't know how the 121 world works. I'm assuming they have the same instrument currency we do, but I know that there are different regulations when you have an ATP. But that's now beyond my knowledge.
Well, they probably have sims, so
Yeah.
if they're getting close
Yeah.
to their losing their.
All right, let's talk about that actually. So now the DP says, great. What if the scenario, I want to go flying in January, but these 10 approaches were done in a sim. Am I current? I want to fly in January.
Is it a FA?
Sure. Let's call it, let's call it this is basic sim out here.
Are you calling out the people? Or?
No, if you have a question, go ahead.
No, I was gonna
I
ask.
should have done this. I'm sorry about that. Thank you for reminding me. I should be using it. Right. So there is a once you're rated, you can do approaches by yourself, no instructor needed, in the basic sim, and it counts towards your currency. You got to be in simulated instrument. Don't be in. I see people doing their. I don't know what they're doing. It's not my place to ask, but like whenever I see somebody in the basic sim and it's not IMC, I'm like curious because you have to do in order to log an approach. It has to be you have to be in simulated or actual instrument conditions after the final approach fix, right? And if it's simulated, you have to have been in simulated conditions all the way from the initial approach all the way to the missed. Like that's the rule. So just because you're doing it on the sim, if you're in VMC, that is not a loggable approach. That is not
Is
count
that why
currency.
So why do they take away like 0.2?
If you take off from Torrance and you're in VMC
Or
in the sim, then that's not part of your simulated instrument. Simulated flight, but it's not simulated instrument.
take away 0.2 because you're that.
Depends how long you're on the ground in Torrance. I did a sim earlier this week where on Tuesday, on Monday we did obstacle departure procedure. It was fun. But Tuesday I just started in the air. We were on our way to Kettling already, so we didn't take off anything because the whole time was in IMC.
So you didn't take anything.
Some people are like, "Oh, the DPEs frown on that." I'm like, "What do they frown on?" I put my signature there. I'm an authorized instructor. I he was IMC the whole time. Come for me. Yeah. Why? Exactly. I don't need that. He didn't need to practice ODPs. He was fine on ODPs. He needed some approaches. Clearly, I'm not upset about it at all. For nothing that hasn't even happened yet. Cool. Exactly. Okay, now let's keep going on this. The DP's next question. And it's coming to you, Baldur. What if, in this situation, I want to go flying IFR? Let's see. When did you say my currency expires here? Let's see. When does the currency expire in this situation?
April.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, cool. Right. So there's our. So what if I want to go flying IMC? Sorry, I want to go flying IFR in May. Can I?
No.
Okay, talk to me about what that is.
Instrument efficiency check. So you get them to can't be simulated with the safety pilot, and I believe it has to be in IFR.
Not quite. Not quite. Not quite. There is an IPC. You don't need an IPC here. You could do an IPC instrument proficiency. You could. There's nothing stop. You can do an instrument proficiency check whenever you want. Who can you? Let's talk about that for a second. Who can you do an IPC with, Baldur?
A safety pilot.
No, IPC has to be done with a CFII, aviation safety inspector, DP. Yeah, let's put a pin, and we'll talk more about IPCs in a second. But what happens here? I'm 1 month out of currency, so I don't need an IPC. Let's go with number 2, Wayne.
You can do it on the simulator.
I can just do my 6 hits again, right? The point being here, I can just do my 6 hits. I can do them on the sim by myself. I'm a rated pilot. Log them and do them. I can do it. Yeah. How long do I have? Oh, I call it the grace period. How long is my grace period? 6 months after my currency expires. So my currency expired in April. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have all the way till the end of October when I can do my 6 hits again. Yep. So anytime May through October 31st, I'm not current. So what are my limitations on doing my 6 hits? Chris. During this period of time.
No actual IMC by yourself,
Good. Why not?
because you're not.
Yeah, I cannot exercise the privileges of my rating. I am not current. I cannot exercise the privileges. So how do I get? Balvier said sim, but aside from sim, how else can I get current again during this period?
Under the hood,
Yeah, with who? Yeah, by yourself. Yeah.
with someone minimum a PPO.
Yeah. Safety pilot, right?
Safety
So tell me the qualifications for safety pilot.
You have a PPO, so you
Yep.
can be a student.
Yep.
They're able to have basic math.
Yeah. As long as they're qualified to be PIC of the aircraft, right? It's like other little things like dual controls. They have to be able to see outside. They have to be able to be your safety pilot. And are you allowed to fly an IMC with your safety pilot?
If they have their instrument.
I don't think so, because then they are PIC. Then they're
Oh.
PIC. I don't know. Maybe there's some gray area there, but if
Because you have to be PIC.
once
right?
Jacob's rated and you're out of currency, but you're within the 6-month radio, I don't think you can just go up and use Jacob's currency to file and fly an actual. Jacob's your safety pilot, right? He's either PIC or safety pilot. I mean, this is where the safety pilot can log PIC, but for the purposes of currency, no, you should be doing that in VMC.
So once me and Jacob and I have our license, we
Yeah.
can just go up, and I need to get current real quick. Like, let's go up.
If you're going to be in VMC, if as long as you stay in VMC, it doesn't actually matter if Jacob's instrument rated. Does your safety pilot have to be instrument rated? No.
Does the keyword have adequate, what is it, adequate vision?
Yeah, they have to be able to see outside, right? They have to be able to see it. That's the point. They're looking for traffic. They're looking for obstacles. They're doing your eyeballs for you because you're in VMC. You are not able to access the privileges of your cert. Stay in VMC, take a safety pilot. They don't have to be instrument rated. They do have to be able to see. They have to have all that jazz. Yep. And anytime during that 6-month grace period, you can just do your 6 hits in an airplane with a safety pilot.
The baby sim doesn't count, right?
Baby sim totally counts.
Oh,
You can do 6 hits in the baby sim during your grace period and counts. Yeah. Yeah, we're lucky. We paid a lot of money for the academy, but we do get the free basic sim. That can save you a bunch of hops, right? If you actually fly 6 hits, that's a minimum. I know some people here, they have like a patented, like you do the RNAV at Redlands and the ILS at San Pino and the VOR into Chino and the localizer into Hawthorne and then this, and they can like do it all in like 1.9 to 2.0 hobs. But 2.0 hobs is still more expensive than 2.0 hobs on the free basic sim.
yeah.
Is this one, does it record your flight, for lack of a better word, or so how does, if the FAA is like, okay, prove it, how do you verify?
Pilot logbook. Yeah, don't fake it. That's a violation of FARS. They'll send you to jail or probably not jail, but they're gonna take your cert. They're gonna fine you. You'll never fly again. Yeah.
So you can log the approaches, but you can't put the instrument type.
You can log everything
Uh-huh.
once you're rated.
Yeah.
This is the differentiation. You cannot do training in the basic sim for your instrument rating. Training has to be done in the advanced sim. So until you're rated, yeah, you can still fly on the basic as much as you want for practice. You just can't log it until you're rated.
But if you are rated,
Mhm.
wait, do you need extra simulated instrument time after instrument rate?
If you want your ATP, and your ATP requires a whole bunch of hours of instrument.
So technically you get, let's say I pass my check ride today.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
actually just sit there for like 3 days straight to fill up my ATP.
Oh, your eyes water, coffee going into your veins. Yeah. We come
New
in
students come in
Monday. Yeah, exactly. These class comes, we're like, exactly. Yeah.
Hold it.
Or like, for example, you're getting ready for your CFAA check ride, right? Like you're a little rusty. You want to like get back into the mode of Catalina because Catalina VOR Alpha is everything happens fast. It's a trip, right? So like, yeah, you sit at the basic sim and you grind out some Catalina approaches. You log them because you're rated. You log the simulated instrument for any time you're in simulated IMC. You log it.
Awesome.
No instructor required, and it's your logbook. So the FAA says, because there's a FAR in part 61 about logbooks that says, I think it's 61, might be 91. It might be 91. 9156. It's either 9156 or 6156, I think, is the logbooks. Maybe it's 51. It doesn't matter. Point is, you got to do your logbooks, and the FAA trusts that your logbook is correct. If it's not, that's a big problem. It's a big problem. Okay, so let's just finish that off. When are you required to put something in your logbook?
Training.
When it's working towards a currency or training, right? If you're working towards it. If I just go to Catalina and I don't care, I don't need to log it. I don't need to. But if I'm going to use it for my 6 hits, or I'm going to use it for flight time, or I'm going to use it for my 3 takeoffs and 3 landings in the last 90 days, log it. Yeah, that's how you prove it. Cool. All right, so now let's go in the same situation. I'm just going to get rid of these because they don't count anymore. Now I'm here 2 Decembers from now, right? I've only done my 10 approaches here this October. Now can I go fly instrument, Wayne?
No, that's when we would need to do the instrument proficiency.
And now I need IPC. And that's forever, right? After my 6-month grace period, that's forever. Talk to us about the IPC. What's involved?
You can only do it with the BFAA or PPE.
Cool.
And then there also says the safety, the FAA safety.
Yeah, there's a whole list. Where do I find this information?
It's in the ACS.
Yeah, Appendix 1, I think. Let's see.
Yep.
Here it is. So it's in Appendix 1 of the ACS. Wow, the Appendix 1 is really long. But Appendix 1, it tells you. Here it is. Instrument proficiency check per 6157 Delta. And it tells you exactly what's required in an IPC. This is actually very common for a double I check ride. For the ground portion of a double I check ride, the DP to be like, give me an IPC. So you have to know, like, okay, where do I look? Well, I look in Appendix 1 of the ACS. Do I have to do anything in pre-flight preparation or pre-flight stuff? No. So they're not requiring you basically to do a cross-country plan, right? Area of operation 1 and 2. For area of operation 3, you only have to do task B. Area of operation 4, only task B. Area of operation, right? You see how it works?
Yeah.
Area of operation 6, all. Let's look. What's area of operation 6? Instrument approaches. Shocker, right? So you got to do your non-precision and your precision approaches. And you have to do them to ACS standards. So it's sort of like a mini check ride, but you can do it with a double I instead of a DPE, which has 2 advantages. First, I'm way cheaper than DPE. Second, if you're not proficient, there's no record of that. It just goes in your logbook as training. I don't put like failed IPC. I just put training, instrument training. We did this many, whatever. I sign your logbook. That's it. And then that counts. So,
you can get current for the price of a cheeseburger.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. That's right. I'm easy. Exactly. So that's the IPC. Good. Then once I'm current again, say I do an IPC in December, how long is that currency good for?
6 calendar.
Exactly. 6 calendar months. It's just like all of them. Any questions on currency? God, we covered up a couple. I think we covered a couple of misconceptions. Yeah.
Maybe you guys talked about it while I was on the side, but for the grace period.
Yeah.
Can you do it with CFAA in the actual IMC?
Yes.
Okay, that's the only possible way to go to the actual IMC to get currents, right?
My understanding is that's correct. Maybe some lawyer could say, oh, it's their thing, but you were the sole manipulator of the controls, and because you were the sole manipulator of the controls, you could log PIC for those approach. I wouldn't mess with that. I just wouldn't mess with that, right? Like, why leave any of that to chance? Just go up and stay in visual with a safety pilot. Or if you need to go up in actual, go with a double I, make it training, right? All those 6 hits, it doesn't say 6 hits solo or 6 hits. It just says 6 hits, you as pilot in command. With your pilot in command, now that you're private pilots, anytime you go up with a CFI, if you're flying, right? Yeah, or a double I. Yeah, cool. Any other questions on currency? Good. I think we are too. Okay, let me refer back to what's next here.
The landings, like in PPO world, don't apply to IFR world.
Do they?
Yeah, they do.
100% they do.
Cause it's you have a private license with it.
Exactly.
Oh, so, you know.
Yeah, the instrument rating is like an add-on rating to your cert. It's not its own cert.
Like, there's no landings to do it with IFR, right?
Not as currency,
Like,
but there are landings to do.
with PPL.
Right. So what is that?
The three, like for day VFR, you got 3 and takeoffs, but at night you got the full stop.
In order to just fly solo, do I have to have 3 takeoffs and 3 landings in the last 90 days if I just want to fly myself to Catalina? No, it's only when. If I'm taking people.
Oh,
FAA doesn't care. You haven't flown for 13 months and you want to go risk your life? Be our guest. You want to take somebody else's life? You need 3 landings and 3 takeoffs in the last 90 days. At night, if you're taking them at night. It's to protect people, right? They don't. Correct. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Yep. Good. Yeah, but all of that still applies. It's all fair game, right? And actually, to be comprehensive about this answer of what's required, let's cover the rest of it. What else do I have to have in order to act as PIC in an airplane within the last period of time? We try current medical. What else? Biennial flight review. Well, I just gave you the answer. How long ago? Which is how long? Nope. There's one answer. I heard one wrong answer and one 24 calendar months. 24 calendar months is a different amount of time than 2 years. Right? 24 calendar months. Yeah, cool. Nice. Sweet. All right, so we're going to talk about weather as part of our scenario, cross-country planning as part of our scenario, pre-flight procedures as part of our scenario. Okay, let's actually get into our cross-country, shall we? So you planned a cross-country, or the scenario was that we're going to go pick up a friend, have lunch with them today in Bakersfield, beautiful Bakersfield, California. What's that? Yeah, you're actually Meadowsfield. You're from Visalia area. Yeah, you can probably recommend us what cafe we should go to for our lunch today. What's that? Jersey Mike's, exactly. Yeah, we flew all the way to Meadows to go to Jersey Mike's. Yeah, make sure you get the points on your stamp card. But let's go there, okay? So it was just. I realized last night that it was maybe unclear. Am I taking my friend from here to Meadows, or are we picking the friend up in Meadows? Those of you who were able to plan it, which way did you plan it?
You sent
That you're both here and you're both going to Meadows together?
Yeah, and then both go.
Okay, that's fine. Then that's how we'll run it. Sorry, as I was going to bed, I think about you all at all the time. I was not clear on that. Okay.
I didn't get
Um,
that.
I'm sorry.
You edited it at 2 a.m.
You got it at 2 a.m?
That's when you edited it at 2 a.m.
Oh, that's when I edited at 2 a.m, and everybody's like, "Why were you editing it at 2 a.m?" And then here at 15 minutes to 7. Do you not sleep? Yeah.
It didn't notify me that you sent it.
Bummer. Sorry. Well, we're gonna be using this scenario for the next couple of days, so we'll go from there. We'll go.
So,
I know. I think about you all the time too. Yeah. I could try to get my own ringtone. Am I updating to that yet? Awesome. All right. So here's what the DP might ask you, right? It's like, oh, like sometimes they give you choices, like, oh, which cross country do you plan? Oh, I did the one to Meadows in Oakland. Cool. Great. I'm just gonna start off with talk to me about the route you planned to Meadows. Tell me the route you planned to Meadows. Moon, it picked you. Tell us about the route you planned to Meadows. I'm gonna pop it into Sky Vector while you give it to me.
Meadows, the Bakersfield.
Oh, somebody joined us online. Who is it? It's Sugar. Hi, Sugar. Welcome. Yeah, there's a bunch of airports in Bakersfield, including one confusingly called Bakersfield Municipal, which is not the Delta. The Delta is called Meadowsfield.
Yeah,
That's where we're going.
yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, you've been there too?
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's not up 45?
No, it's KBFL.
Oh,
Look at that nasty VFR. Oh, thank God. There we go.
Yep.
Okay. KTOA 2 KBFL. What was your route? Okay.
Take Victor.
Uh-huh.
Gorman Dior.
Oh,
Gorman Dior. Direct to Pesto. That's one of the.
Right.
Yes, and then
we start
Direct from there.
Yeah,
Basically,
direct.
that's an initial approach fix for an approach.
So it's actually not.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're actually gonna have to either not fly to Festo and fly to one of the initial approach fix. But yes, that will be my.
Cool.
plan, yeah.
All right, talk to me about how you chose this route.
I use the advisory.
Ah, the route advisor on 4Flight?
Yep.
Sweet. Okay. And what altitude are you planning to fly?
Since we're gonna westbound,
Mhm.
we're selecting even 1,000.
Okay.
So I select 10,000
Great.
or 10,000.
That's actually that was 1,000. Great. Cool. Cool. Talk to me a little bit about, okay, so is everybody on board with this route? You can please put it in your 4Flight if you haven't yet. KTOA LAX Victor 23 Gorman Fasto direct at 10,000.
You meant Sierra Lima, right?
May I get that one more time, please?
Yeah, here it's right up here on this.
The airplane 66 Sierra Lima. There's no Sierra Charlie.
Wait, really?
Yeah, that one, that was the only thing that I could not find.
And
So I think we have that, but we just, or is that possible?
okay, then Sierra Lima. Then Sierra Lima. And that was just totally my bad. I'm gonna edit that right now.
I also realized that if the plane that you're putting in is not like updated, like what kind of plane it is, it won't give you your like fuel estimation. Your
No, it has to have the full, performance profile. That's right. That's right. Cool. All right. So Moon picked 10,000 on this route. My next question is, what were some of the things that were going through your mind as you chose the route? Like, what are some of the maybe hazards or benefits of this route? Did anybody else do the plan or just Moon? Jacob, talk to us about how did you, first of all, did you pick a similar route or a different route?
Yeah, my only difference was that I put in the ILS for 30 right.
Cool. And we don't actually file approaches, right? You can put that in for your planning purposes into 4Flight, and then it will do it like for fuel calcs and all that. But for planning purposes, for filing purposes rather, it would not matter. Talk to us about, Jacob, tell me about some of the like things you were thinking about as you were planning the route, benefits and limitations. Like walk me through your thinking.
Well, when I was looking at which route to take, this one was used 258 times.
Cool.
So I thought that was very positive.
Nice.
It also started at 3,000 feet. So I could definitely do it. It was also for piston engine.
Nice.
Procedure. The MEA gets us to 9,500.
Okay.
Which is why we were saying 10,000, I think.
Got it. On this leg here through right before Gorman.
On Victor 23.
Yep. Yep. I see it. Cool.
Still within our service ceiling. Even with like an approximate pressure altitude for that airport, it's still like very minimal.
Oh, interesting.
12,000.
Okay. So wait, let's pause for a second. So there's a couple things here that are happening that are really good, right? The DPE asked a very broad question. Tell me about your thinking, right? That's very common, right? And so it's easy to be like, no, but like, you know, the ACS, right? You know, there's things like they need to check your knowledge of charts. They need to check your knowledge of Victor Airways. They need to check your knowledge of hazard and risk mitigation. They need to check your knowledge of systems and system limitations. So Jacob has just covered a bunch of those things in this answer. Like, make the check ride easy for them. They're going to make it easy for you, right? Jacob just talked about density altitude. I'm going to pause you there and call on somebody else, right? But now the follow-up question is going to be, all right, oh, cool. So you know that you're going to go 10,000, but there's questions about whether or not we can make it at 10,000. How would you calculate if you can make it at 10,000 today? If call on Ewing.
Actually, I have a question about this.
Yeah.
So, because the Victor 23, that 9,500, that's the highest point we need to fly. Is it okay that I find an airport next to it? So there's that Whale Lake.
Sure. Charlie Lima 46.
Yeah, and in 4Flight, I can look at the density altitude there and compare that to the field elevation and just add the difference to see.
Totally legit.
Okay.
Totally legit. Let's actually do that. What's the density altitude? Is Quail Lake actually reporting a density altitude?
Yes, it's 4,165.
Okay, Charlie Lima 46. I'm gonna pull it up in 4 flight 2.
I think it uses the weather station.
Oh, it uses the Sandberg weather station, which looks like it's co-located. Nice. See how it says METAR KSDB? And we can see on the chart here, we have an ASOS called Sandberg ASOS SDB that looks like exactly co-located at Quail Lake. Nice.
Density altitude is 4,165.
How does that compare to the elevation of the airport, Wayne?
Elevation is 4,518
Of Quail Lake?
I'm getting 3,000.
of the Sandberg weather station.
Oh, did they put it high? Where are you seeing that?
Just the KSDB.
Oh, so you put that in up here, KSDB. Huh. A weather station. Oh, sure is. Wow. Interesting. 4518 MSL. Okay, so this would have been a mistake I would have made, right? I was looking at the weather for Quail Lake.
Me too.
Charlie Lima 46. This is good. This is why we do these.
How do you do?
So I then typed in KSDB, and then I scrolled down to weather station, and now it's showing me the weather station, Sandberg.
And you went to just weather and
Yeah, here, I'll plug in the shuffle. Where's it? What's that? My first step was to go up here, and I just typed it. Actually, I was on the airports tab, and I just did CL46, right? Quail Lake Sky Park. And I went to weather, and I saw that this METAR said KSDB. Cool. And I made the faulty assumption that that was just from the airport. Well, no, this is CL46, not KSDB. So then I'm like, well, where is KSDB? I don't think that's a thing. So I just typed in KSDB. Well, that's not. Oh, look, weather station. See when I scroll down? It's even got a little windsock. So then I clicked on that. That pulled me to the map. And then over here, it showed me information about the weather station. The weather station is apparently at 4518 MSL. Looks like, according to 4Flight, that it's a little bit off site from Quail Lake.
It's a little bit higher too.
Yeah, so maybe if I zoom in, I don't know, that's pretty. That's pretty. I mean, maybe the low en route 7 is a little more. I don't know. That is interesting. Oh, I know why. Look, here's the airport. Oh my God. I'm fired. 10 weeks of this and I still can't work the TV.
We won't tell.
Thanks. I have my other charms. Here's the airport, right? I'm now looking at the low en route 3. Actually, all of these. I was just looking wrong. I was just confused. Here's the airport over here in the brown.
that's the Quail Lake, right?
That's Quail Lake. This is, so yeah, they are different. So of course they're different.
So that's Sandberg ASOS or Sandberg?
This is an ASOS, and I guess it got its own code starting with a K.
But it's not an airport.
It's not an airport. It's only an ASOS. It's a weather station.
It's SB.
Why did they give us a weather station there? Couldn't have said it better myself. Couldn't have said it better myself. It's a middle of the grapevine and a lot of crap would happen. Also, it was kind of a choke point. A lot of us are gonna go VFR, IFR through that channel, and like we need good weather there. Like, is it snowing? Is it a density altitude of 1 million? Like, what's happening?
4Flight, we can't see that, but when you go to Sky Vector, you could.
If I tap this, so if you,
Oh,
there's a feature in 4Flight where you can, okay, look, because look, there's no, look, when you look at the low IFR charts, if I zoom out here, this is a physical map, right?
Yeah.
And the physical maps have different areas they cover. So this is the low en route 7 chart. See how I'm on route 7? So where's Sandberg? But as I zoom in, it turns out this view I can also see on Route 3. So I now switched to low on Route 3. See how it's on the edge of low on Route 3? It's also on low on Route 4, which is a different map yet. So this part of the map I can actually see on 3 different low en route charts because they have some overlap. They have to.
Is the difference, the 3, 7, and 4, is that just like different sectionals for lack of a better?
Correct. So the sectionals get names, right? Los Angeles, San Francisco, Las Vegas. The low IFR, they only get numbers. So like low ion route, and there's just numbers. And there's this is the massive chart, which they don't produce anymore, that shows where the sectionals are. There's a similar one that'll show you where all the low en route charts are. If you need it to be like in the old times, like what low en route chart do I need to pull out to find, somewhere in New Jersey? Now we just use FourFlight. But what happens when I tap in FourFlight is that it's switching me between these low on Route 3, low on Route 7, low on Route 4. And you can actually see it here. Showing now?
Visibility.
Yeah, I'll show you how to turn this on. But here's one, right? It even shows you the edge of the chart. So how do you do this? Settings, the little gearbox, and then you go touch actions.
Map touch action.
There it is, map touch action. See it?
Yeah.
And I have mine set to bring chart to front with legends.
Mhm.
That way I can also see the edge of the chart with the legends if I scroll over. So you tap it. If you tap on an airport, it's gonna just show you the airport or navigate or whatever. But if you tap somewhere where there's nothing else, it'll cycle through. It works also on the VFR side of things to cycle you between the TAC and the sectional. Super helpful. Okay, so Wayne, we're gonna come back to you now. You were like, what's happening here at Sandberg? I wish I could touch it in FourFlight. That's so strange.
If you put go to
Is my aeronautical?
left hamburger.
Okay.
On the right side, scroll down to visibility.
Whoa. There we go. Sweet. Nice. I'm learning stuff too. Nice. Anyway, here we are at Sandberg. This is a long explanation of density altitude, right? But basically Wayne, you're saying that this weather station is at 4518 and it's reporting a density altitude of 4165.
Great.
8,006.
Wait, that means that the density altitude is lower.
Nice dense
So
area.
we can.
So tell us about what that means for our 10,000 foot altitude we need there.
So it means we have a little bit more buffer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What altitude in terms of performance would you look up in the POH if we were going to take this at 10,000 feet?
So I can just subtract the difference. Is that like?
Yeah, which is what? Let's see, 4518.
So that's around 400. So we can technically climb up to 1,400. Right, that's about 400.
So when it's lower, you subtract, but with higher, you add it.
This is like a conceptual thing, right? So whatever makes sense in your brain. It doesn't really. Here's how I think about it, right? This weather station is at 4518.
Mhm.
The density altitude is what did we say? 41
40.
165. So it's lower than the actual elevation that I'm at. I know I get better performance when I'm lower, right? There's more air molecules floating in my plane. There's more air molecules to go in my cylinders to make boom, right? Like that's better. So that's why in my mind, I think like, oh, it's lower. But in your mind, maybe you think better and it doesn't matter which way you got to subtract. The point being that it allows us to be actually at a higher true altitude and get the same performance as if we were a little bit lower. Yeah, so service ceiling of the plane, because the density altitude is lower than standard right now at Sandberg, we would actually be like able to potentially fly up to 12,400 on our altimeter in our airplane, in the sling. That never happens.
Yeah.
In July? Why is this the case? Look at the temperature. What's the temp? What is standard temp?
15.
At what altitude?
Sea level.
Sea level.
So what is ISA, International Standard Atmosphere? What's the temp at the elevation of Sandburg?
Per
Hold on,
thousand.
I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna check right it. Balvier, what would be standard temperature at Sandburg?
Um. It,
Phone a friend, let's see, all right, let's click it again, let's see, 4, oh,
So we lose 2 degrees Celsius every 1,000 feet we gain. So 9 degrees Celsius minus 15. So it should be 8 degrees Celsius. No, 6 degrees.
6 degrees Celsius, right? You're doing, you're doing a little rounding, right? You're saying, all right, well, this is, let's call this 4,500,
Yeah, so
right? At 2 degrees per 1,000 feet, 4.5 times 2 is 9. So 15 minus 9 is 6. So we would expect standard temperature to be 6 degrees. Is something not computing in your mind right now? What's the temp?
16.
That's hotter.
Yeah.
So why are we having a lower density altitude? If we're a full 10 degrees hotter than standard.
And pressures.
Okay, let's check the pressure. What's the pressure, Wayne?
014.
3014.
I mean, 14, yeah,
3014. What would be standard pressure at sea level? 29902. What would be the pressure altitude we would expect at Sandburg? This is getting this is not, honestly, this is not more detailed than they might get in a check ride. How would you, what's the rule of thumb for that, Chris? Do you remember? It's an inch per 1,000 feet.
Yeah.
It's not exact, neither is the 2 degrees of Celsius
So
per 1,000. It's a rule of thumb, right? So for every 1,000 feet you go up, you should lose 1 inch of mercury.
So 4.5.
Right, so 4.5 inches, 29.902 minus 4.5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be 2.9, no, that'd be 2, 4 minus the other half, 9
Oh,
2.9.902 minus 4.5.
all right now.
25. Yeah, call Paul and tell him that I'm fired. 20. He can't work the TV and he can't do arithmetic before 9 yet. 25.42.
Yeah, 5 feet buffer, and it says 400, so that just makes sense.
Let's explain out the mind-blowing emoji that just happened here. Table number 4, right? So we would expect standard temperature to be 6 degrees. Well, damn, we're 10 degrees hotter. So we should not be having a low density altitude. We should be having a high density altitude. But then, as you said, what about the pressure? The pressure we would expect at 4,500 feet on a standard day is 25.42. The pressure we actually have is 3014. But here's the only other thing I'll say. Hold on, before we blow our minds too much. Because I actually am pretty sure that METARs are corrected for sea level pressure. I think they're actually corrected for sea level pressure. Otherwise, think about it. At Big Bear, you'd have an altimeter setting that's like this. And you never get reported an altimeter setting that's like this. I think they correct it for sea level pressure. So now I'm back to not understanding why the METAR, why would be reporting this? Unless they don't get corrected. No, they would definitely get corrected for a weather station.
Maybe the humidity kind of reduces.
Okay, so then the other element that goes into density altitude is humidity, right?
91%.
Yeah. I mean, what's the humidity here? Let's see what it is right now at Torrance. 83%. And 50% is not that much.
The humidity.
Yeah, especially in this. I mean, thank God we're not in like Georgia or New Orleans or somewhere was very humid and hot in the summer. Right. Let's see, where was that? Recents. I don't know, but let's put that question mark on hold for a second and finish up the humidity conversation. Why does humidity affect density altitude?
Because it takes the water molecules takes a room for the air molecules.
Exactly, right? So high humidity, it's literally the water is pushing air out of the way. And so you have higher density altitude, the more humid it is. Conversely, you have lower density altitude, the drier it is. This now is though, like, I don't have like a metric for like, why would it be 51%? Like, is that, how much does that affect it? I don't know.
Yeah, that one.
I don't know. Yeah. So to be honest, I'm still left with a question mark. Why is this reporting such high density altitude?
But,
Or excuse me, such low density altitude?
I think it has to be corrected for sea level.
Yeah, it has to be.
It also tells you our sea level pressure in inches,
In millibars.
yeah, in the millibars.
Yeah,
So
1016.3.
we do have a higher,
We do have a higher pressure.
Yes.
That's correct. It's still higher than 290902, right? So 3014 minus 290902 is still 22 hundredths of an inch, right? It is still higher, right? 3014 is still higher pressure. So I guess the only explanation we're left with, and it is also only a 500-foot difference, right?
Yeah.
Is that the 9 degrees above standard temperature is more than compensated by, it's more than compensated for by the high pressure. That must be the answer.
yeah.
Must be the answer.
Or do you happen to know what's the standard humidity? Because if we have a lower than standard.
I don't know. I never think about like ISA, right? International Standard Atmosphere. I've never heard of that having a humidity component. Only temperature, pressure, and elevation. But maybe it does. ISA humidity. Let's see. Okay, so this is let's see. Oops. Skybrary.com. Skybrary.aero, definitely an FAA approved source. Temperature, pressure, and density.
Couldn't you just say, oh, what would the humidity be if the temperature is this and the dew point is that?
Here we go. The ISA models, this is now Wikipedia, so again, not an FAA approved source. Probably better than Sky whatever .aero. Hypothetical standard A to allow reproducible. It does not provide blah, blah, blah. Neither does it account for humidity effects. Air is assumed to be dry and clean. Okay. Humidity effects are accounted for in vehicle or engine analysis by adding water vapor. Okay. Okay. We'll have to do some more research. Gosh darn it, Paul, why are you in Oshkosh when we need you here to answer those questions? And to do Balfour's face check.
Not good with it.
Yeah. Right on cue, right? Here's what I would do, right? We've now belabored this probably a little too much, but just to finish this off, let's cross-reference this with another airport nearby, right? Now, the Grapevine is going to have potentially its own unique weather. So this is going to be, and it's also closest to where we're going to 10,000 feet. So Wayne, I think this is a great idea, and this is how I would do it. And I think we've now really exhausted this, including everything possible we could ever think about weather. This is even on a private pilot check ride. That was definitely good. But let's at least look, I don't know, is there anything else nearby? Maybe we try something on this side, at least in the desert side. What's happening at Bakersfield Muni? What's happening at Lima 45 right now in terms of weather? Yeah, exactly. Text your friend, get a pie rep real quick. Oh, no observation. Great, thanks. I guess they don't have an ASOS or it's out of service. Well, I mean, let's just try Bakersfield then. Weather, the Taft there.
Oh, now that.
Yeah, now it's a higher density altitude once we get into Bakersfield, right? What's happening on this side of the valley before the Grapevine? Let's look at like Whiteman or
Low pressure.
where's our route? What's happening here? Here's Whiteman.
No air.
Whiteman is also about 400 feet higher density altitude. Oh, it's only 400, but you know.
So so is the weather station good?
Look, I think we just proved why there's a Sandberg ASOS. I think we just proved why there's a Sandberg ASOS. There's just unique weather happening in that pass, right? The weather gets funneled in. It's at a higher actual altitude. The mountains and the orographic effects, and I don't know, fill in some more weather buzzwords. Like that's probably why there's a sandbar ASOS. But for our planning purposes, we've now exhausted this. I agree with you. I think we can do it. 10,000 should be no problem, based on the data we have. Even if we were going to use the higher density altitude of Bakersfield Meadows, we could still do it.
Right.
Be close, we could still do it. Cool. We'll see if the 11 o'clock class has the same answer. All right, team. Now let's talk about the departure from Torrance. Actually, let's go one step back. How am I going to file this flight plan? Hold on. Let me, my things. This 5. Jacob, how am I going to file this flight? How would you file this flight plan?
We would just go to my core flight.
Yep.
And send it to my flights, make sure everything looks good.
Yep.
Proceed to file.
Oh, I like it. When do you have to do that?
30 minutes before.
Nice.
Not right before startup.
Right, exactly.
Actually, I have a question on that.
Sure.
So if we're doing a flight like this where, let's say we're going to Bakersfield, but we're going there to like just check out the airport for a second or do a touch and go or something.
Yeah.
And want to do another flight plan to another airport.
Yeah.
Do we have to wait 30 minutes, like file it and then wait, or we can just go?
You can file it in advance if you want. So for example, on your long IFR cross country, you actually have to be on, you can't do that. You can do it VMC, but you can't do it VFR. That long cross country has to be an instrument, but you have to be basically an IFR flight plan the whole time, the whole 250 nautical miles, right? All 3 airports, all 3 approaches. So in that case, if I'm saying going from Torrance to Brown to San Bernardino to Torrance, while I'm here on the ground, I can file 3 different flight plans and have them on file. I'm making some assumptions about my estimated time of departure. Flight plans only last so long in the ATC system, right? So if I wait too long to pick it up after my estimated time of departure, it'll drop out of the system. So I risk maybe needing to refile it if it drops out, because if I'm late or something. But for example, if I knew I was just stopping at Brown, getting a new clearance, and going to San Bernardino, I have a pretty good idea of when that's gonna happen. I can file here to Torrance and then Brown to San Bernardino. Sorry, Torrance to Brown and then Brown to San Bernardino here. Maybe I keep my San Bernardino flight plan on standby because I'm going to get gas. I'm going to go in. There's a really nice FBO. Make sure you get lip balm. It's the SPF and it's also smells really good. You can get ice cream. Make sure you check out the sleeping room. Get some cheap gas. I really like the FBO at San Bernardino. It takes like 0.1 hops to get there because the airport's massive, but it's worth it. Maybe I wait till I land at San Bernardino, then I have a better idea of my ETD and I file it. Or I file all 3. Just send them now. I don't have to pick them up till I get there. They can just be on file. It's fine. If you look at like your commercial flights, like if you're going on like Southwest, they have a whole dispatch team, right? They have professional FAA certificated dispatchers. That's an FAA cert for people. They're gonna file that flight plan 12 hours in advance, right? That's their job. That's you could go look and you could see what's the flight plan for this flight they filed.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Let's talk next about the departure. How are we going to actually depart Torrance today? How would we expect to depart Torrance?
ODP.
Balvier. You said the ODP?
Correct.
Okay, cool.
So over to part 2 back. Next up, the LAX.
You missed one thing. The altitude. Let's go the altitude. What am I climbing to?
3,000.
Yeah, exactly, right? Climb runway heading, climb to 3,000, intercept LAX radio 170 to limbo.
How
Exactly.
come it doesn't for say runway 29 or less than, right? How come it doesn't say dense?
I don't know, and it bothers me that it doesn't. Like some of these, they'll say like, you know, dot, 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 or dot, 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 events. I don't know.
It just has.
Yeah, this is so Valvier, show people what you're looking at. Valvier is looking at the instrument procedures publication, the terminal procedures publication rather from the FAA, which is fine and totally valid. This is the Jepson 10-9A. So I recommend that you use Jepson because it pulls from that. It pulls from another place where it has the alternate minima. It pulls from the chart supplement where it has all your, and it pulls from the other part of the chart supplement where it has the hotspots. It pulls from 4 or 5 different places from FAA publications and puts them all in one easy to use place. So you go to procedures, airport. You'll see there's one called airport info. This is the, apparently I taxied Charlie Alpha Delta last time. Side note, that one, you know, on the text in the checklist, it says taxi brief.
Yeah.
That's my taxi brief. That's my taxi brief. I write it down and then I draw it on this 10-9 every time. That counts as a taxi brief. You need to do some kind of taxi brief. Just hearing it out loud is not enough. So if you're not writing it down, which I strongly recommend you write it down, if you're not, you need to at least be explaining it out loud and following along on your moving map that's scrolled to the airport diagram. Anyway, the 10-9 doesn't have enough room, so that's why it spills over to the 10-9A. And the 10-9A has all of our notes from the chart supplement, has all of our runway information, our hotspot notes, our ODPs, and it also has our takeoff minima. So what is our takeoff minima for this runway for today? Chris.
Takeoff minimum?
Yeah.
Lower than standard. Standard, so we have one engine, so it's 1.2 miles of visibility.
Nice, great. Say I was taking off today, Santa Ana winds or whatever it was in, we're using runways 1-1 left, right? So I'm gonna take off 1-1 left. What would be my minimums then? And they could do this on a truck ride, right? They could absolutely do this. Jacob, what would be my minimum? So I was taking off 1-1 right. Sorry, I meant 1-1. Well, sure, 1-1 right. Let's go for it. Yeah, 1-1 right. That would be strange to do an IFR departure from the short runway, but we could.
We're still running, supposed to be touching.
Anything else?
Using a little bit more.
Snitching.
And increased climb gradient.
Yeah, this is where, right, for the ODP, for the minimums, if there's a non-standard performance minima, it's gonna require it here. What are the standard performance minima that the FAA is assuming? Like, for example, it doesn't list anything unusual for 2.9ers, but
That means
so what's it assuming?
200 feet.
Climb rate, good.
That's all.
Chris?
200 feet per nautical mile, no turns within 400 feet AGL.
Yeah, no turns below 400 feet AGL, good.
And then 35 feet over the, this is like a little acronym.
The DER.
The DER, yeah.
Departure.
End of the runway.
Exactly, yeah. So you need to be 35 feet over, by the time you reach the departure end, 35 feet, no turns below 400, climbing at a minimum rate of 200 feet per nautical mile. Exactly, cool. But for 1-1 right, in order to use this 1 and 2 engine visibility minima of 1 mile, we have to be able to maintain a climb gradient of 325 feet for a nautical mile 600. Could we do that today, Jacob? All right, what are you going to calculate? Tell us the counts.
Jepson had it so close, they gave us everything except converting it to feet per minute.
Except literally a calculator. Well, it's because it's dependent on the ground speed. Oops, I gave it away. It says 325, yeah.
So I do. Ground speed, which would be 72.
Okay, why'd you pick 72? Well, this is ground speed. So 72 is our VY. That's our indicated airspeed. But it's important when we're doing these calculations that we use the actual ground speed. So if we're climbing at a VY of 72 indicated, how could I figure out my approximate ground speed for the purpose of this calculation?
See your head.
Cool. And isn't it nice that ForeFlight, in its wisdom,
It does it.
it literally broke it down on the runways tab, right?
Can
So
we
we're
do-
doing 1-1 right. So what's my headwind tailwind component on 1-1 right?
Go airport and runway.
Yeah, go airport and then the runway tab.
So 4-knot headwind.
For 1-1 right. See how it's in red and it's kind of showing the arrow going from behind you? It's in red to show you that there's a 4-knot tailwind component on 1-1 right and a 4-knot right crosswind component.
we don't do anything with the crossbar.
Well, you put your aileron into the wind, right? You do all your, when
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
actually doing the maneuver, the takeoff maneuver.
Calculation.
No, we're not doing like a crab angle situation. We're just doing the ground speed. So we would add or subtract the 4 knots to our 72. Cool. All right, so let's run it.
So 6
Yep.
divided by 60.
Yep.
And by that climbing gradient.
Sure. Yep.
So 411.
Good.
12 per round.
Perfect. 412 watts.
Our normal, wherever the normal grade is.
Yeah, VSI, it's feet per minute. Feet per minute, exactly, feet per minute, exactly, good. Good. Okay, so now the question, can we do it? Can we meet that climb gradient today? How do you know? Because ForeFlight said so? Oh, well, actually, no, I wish ForeFlight would be that detailed. I don't think ForeFlight does this calc for us.
Performance on POH.
Section 5 of the POH, right, which says like you can do million feet per second in sling at this altitude, but you have to make sure to correct for density altitude, right? So there's enough margin for error. I think a DP would be fine as long as you acknowledge you would need to accommodate, cross reference, because what does it say for 3,000 feet in the POH? 600 feet per minute at 3,000 feet. So before I even correct for density altitude, I know that I can make it all the way up to 3,000 feet, right? Without doing any calculations. I know I can do it. Morning, Jimbo. I know I can do it. But make sure you say that to the DPE, right? Because if you're just like, yeah, we can do it, they're going to be like, really? So just make sure you're correcting for density altitude, because all those numbers in section 5 are based on standard day. Cool. All right, I like it. All right, so now my next question, what's happening over here? I'm calling somebody else. Wayne, what's this other situation?
For not a standard aircraft, then we need the visibility requirements, and ceiling is different. There's a 400-foot ceiling and 2.5 statute mile visibility requirement.
All right, cool. So when would I use this instead of this, or instead of this? Like which column? What determines what column I pick?
My aircraft.
Sure, the number of engines, but I got 1 or 2. So let's just. Let's go to number 4. Moon. Which one? How do I know? When would I use this instead of this or this?
Based on how the column structured it is, or runway 11.
Correct.
But
1-1 right specifically.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
But it's not, it doesn't include the climb rate, nor it's not standard or not going to standard. It doesn't really matter about the number of the engines. And as Wayne said, that is just ceiling and the visibility.
The keyword you said was columns, right? This is how Jepson designs this for
Yeah,
us,
yeah.
right? So if you look here, see how it says the column for runway 11 right takes the whole page, right? So that means everything under is this is all applying to 11 right.
I wonder if our aircraft can't meet the boundary.
That's it, right? Which Jacob just calculated for us. So if we cannot make, what do we say, 412 feet per minute?
Yep.
Is what we calculated based on the current ground speed and headwind, tailwind. So we can't do that today for whatever reason, all the way up to 600 feet corrected for density altitude. then it's not like, oh, no one will write for you. Like in some airports, that could be it, right? Like, oh, you cannot do it. But at Torrance, they've decided, the FAA has decided that if you can't make this climb gradient, but you have 400 feet ceilings and 2.5 statute miles visibility, you can go. Do I still have a minimum climb necessary for that though?
The standard,
Which is what, Chris?
200 feet.
Per nautical mile. Well, on the other two things you said, right? 35 feet, the departure in the runway, no turns before below 400 feet AGL. Exactly, right? So yeah, so that's it. So if I was taking, I don't know, a super heavy, I don't know, there's aren't huge big planes that climb out of this airport. It's pretty 412 feet per minute is not that much, right? But you got a really fast plane, it's really heavy, maybe you can't do it. All right, cool. Well, then you have a ceiling limitation of 400 and you need 2.5 statute miles visibility. Yeah.
Oh, that's what others mean. And that's why the 29 side does not have it, because it doesn't really say the non-standard climb weight.
Let me scroll up here. Ah, you're saying, yeah, because
Yeah.
the 29er left, 29er right, it only has one column. It's for the whole runway, right?
Yeah.
Standard versus other one.
Yeah.
Why can't I use quarter mile? Let me call in somebody. Hold on. Let me use the random number generator. Balvier. If I'm taking off 29er left or 29er right, why can't I just send it with quarter statute mile visibility? That's fine. Let's call somebody else. Let's see. Number 3, Chris. I know your face is the same actually. Number 5, Jacob. Okay. Wayne, Moon.
Do you have to ask for it?
This says ops lower than standard op spec authorization required. Do we have that? I don't know. We don't have it. It's something we don't have, right? Basically, what I assume it is some kind of like special dispensation from the FSDO, right? Some kind of paperwork, right? Is this your understanding too, Jimbo? It's like something like, all right, we know that in our airplane, we have certain equipment and we have certain operating procedures. Maybe we're part 135, a 121 operator, whatever. We can go to the FSDO and prove that we can do this safely at a quarter statute mile, but I need a special op spec. I need a special operations, specification, some kind of authorization letter. We don't have that.
Yeah, because jets and stuff want to take off.
Yeah. Exactly, right? Because like American Airlines, they have a whole department that like can prove all this and do it. They've got fancy planes, so like they can, and they got the time and resources to like talk to the FSDO and get those special things. We cannot do that. Yeah. In Part 91, let's get really specific now. In Part 91, what is, it says 1 statute mile standard, right? But does that apply to us? Technically.
No,
Chris, no. Technically, no.
because we're part 91 and we're the Cowboys.
The Cowboys.
We send it at 0 viz.
That's right. That's right. So what would you then say to the DP as follow-up to that?
I'm gonna pick.
Great, here's your cert. Great. Now, what would you really say if the DP was like, what is actually your visibility minimum in
So
Part 91? Tell us.
as part of 91, we can go as low as 0 visibility, but
Yep.
my personal minimum
There we go.
will be 1 statute mile because that is standard and that is what you pick.
No, it'd be VFR.
Yeah, I was gonna say the keyword you said was personal minimum, right? But then my next question is gonna be, all right, so what are your personal minima for visibility? If I'm gonna give you your cert today, right? And you're in the check ride, and you say that you should absolutely be talking about personal minimums. That's in the ACS. But now and Jimbo's point is like, what should your personal minimum be? Well, now we get to talk about things like what's your proficiency, how much experience do you have, right? Your personal minimums change over time, but I would recommend right now your personal minimum should not be any less than 3 statute miles because that's VFR, right? Your baby VFR pilot. Have you ever landed anywhere where it's actually 3 statute miles? It is not much, folks. Even 5 statute miles, 7 statute miles, it can be a hazy summer day and it's reporting 7. And I am continually shocked what 7 statute miles actually looks like. It is not much. So I would say the very, very, very least you should have in your personal minimums would be 3 because that's VFR, but I would not. The DP is not. The DP would question you if you said 1. Really? 1?
Yeah,
Like
send
you
it.
can, that means you can barely see the other end of 29 right? Like
It'd
that
be
is
like-
not much.
Like half, like less than half, right?
Well, how much is 1 statue mile? 5,000. There's something. I forget. It's 5,280 or something. It's like exactly right. So like it's about the length of 29 right ish. So like that's one statue mile. That's not much. It's not much. Yeah.
And also it could be under your AEM.
That's right. Your aeronautical decision making.
Oh,
Right. The DP is checking. Right, because risk management's on every task of the ACS. Every single task. Yep. Cool. All right, sweet. So we've decided that we can take off, right? We can fly this ODP. Sweet. Cool. All right. 7 minutes left. I'm trying to decide where we should go now. You can't see the screen. I know. This is my Achilles heel, Jimbo. I'm always on the wrong input on the TV. Jimbo taught this class when I took it, so it's kind of cool.
he was probably there too.
At some point. Now,
Never missed.
that's actually never missed it. Yep. And I know where to go. Let's talk a little bit about weight and balance. Because that's going to be something that's going to come up on the check ride, right? You already have your commercial cert, your private cert, right? So all that same NW craft you do for your cross country, it still applies here to this flight.
Yep.
So for those of you who are able to do a plan, can you share with us a little bit about your weight and balance?
I can do that.
Okay, cool. Will you come plug in, please? Thanks.
On top of these.
Oh, I'm there too. We're in the same.
Weird text.
Good job up there, man.
Patience.
Let's
See.
All right, so based on what you send it to the IFR class, the passenger was 120, I'm 180, so average weight was 150. So the total weight is 300, and we're carrying full cargo. So our total payload is 333 pounds, and I put the maximum fuel policy.
Sorry, before you get to gas, can you
Yeah.
just tell us you told us your weight. Talk about the balance. What's your balance part?
What do you mean by what balance?
Your Fiji.
That one we can go to.
There we go.
Alright, yeah. Oh, wait, why can't?
I think it's a 2 finger thing.
Okay. So we are a little bit, that's takeoff weight.
Good.
Where we'll be more aft CG on the takeoff. But in landing, we'll still be aft, but a little bit less than the takeoff.
Well within the envelope, right?
Yes, well, but everything is in the same.
Well within the envelope.
Before that.
The aft CG. So in the takeoffs, since I have more fuel, I'll be relatively more aft CG than the landing
No.
weight.
No.
Let's look at the column. CG inch. Is the higher CG inch more forward or more aft?
So when we looked in the weight
Oh,
balance,
yes,
right? Where's the datum for the sling? Where's the reference point?
On the
the propeller.
I think it says something like the center of the flange of the prop, right? Yeah, something like that. It says the PLH. So when it says like a CG of however many inches, it's measured starting from there backwards.
Okay, it's the length of the arm.
Yeah, that's the length of the
Okay,
arm. But
okay.
starting from basically the flange of the prop.
Right. So the higher number is more aft.
Yeah.
So we are actually more 4 CG when we take off than
That was
flange.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
was just thinking that we're a little behind. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. When you burn gas in a sponge, the CG moves aft.
right.
It's interesting, right? Yeah. Nice.
So that will be my weight.
Yeah.
I mean balance.
Yeah.
And for the weight, as explained, 333 pounds.
Good. Now you can talk about gas.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then select maximum fuel. Looks like we're gonna use 9 gallons of the fuel for the whole flight.
Okay.
I manually put 2 for taxi, and we're using 7 for flight.
I think that's too much.
How much taxi fuel do you use for planning? One, I think it's really way less than that.
Yeah, it is less than one.
I mean, even if you have a long hold for release, like if you look at the gallons per minute, next time you're in the run up at idle, look at what the gallons per minute says. Way less than
Just restart your fuel when you start up and then get there and before you take out check and just fuel burns. I mean,
If that.
That includes like all the run-ups and everything, right?
Exactly. The Rotax system, it just sips fuel. It's not, it's very efficient. I would agree. I think that, and there's no data in our POH, right?
Yeah,
In standard certificated airplanes, you look in the POH, it'll tell you this number, but we have to kind of go by it. I think 1 would be fine. If you wanted to be very conservative, 2,
yeah.
but I agree.
why'd you pick 10,000?
Because we are going to the westbound, and westbound you have to, an IFR flight, you have to pick even 1,000.
Why not 12,000?
Our MEA on our IFR flight, the highest one was 9,500. So I had to pick somewhere higher up.
Are you all clear on that? Is everyone in this room clear on that?
Yes, I believe so.
That's-
IFR altitude, west to east, highest of the MEAs. Are we all clear on that?
Spoken with the confidence of a person who's been failing some face checks. It sounds like it's failing female face checks.
People are filling check rides.
Check rights, damn.
Because
If you walk into a face check and you have 8,000
Mhm.
and I see it's 9,600, fail. You walk into a check ride, fail. Highest MEA. And then whatever direction the flight you're in. I'll be very clear on that. If you're taught something else, it's completely fucking wrong.
yeah, so that's the reason why I picked 10,000, and the reason why I don't pick 12,000. Actually, we did some density altitude calculation. We actually have a lower density altitude, which means air density is higher. Kind of weird, but I'll pick 10,000 for conservative trips. And back to fuel, we're gonna have 20 gallons when we're landing. And I also picked alternate, but the weather looks good, so I picked the one.
We'll pick up with alternates tomorrow, but just to finish. Up,
Okay,
so
okay.
If you're taking max gas, how many gallons of gas are you taking? You said you're taking the most.
30
could.
gallons.
30 gallons.
Yes,
So
so
how
15.
much flight time does that give you? Approximately.
Let's see.
Look, he pressed proceed to
4 hours
file.
and 48 minutes.
4 flight will actually do the exact calculation, right? Okay, 4 hours and 40 minutes, but back of the envelope using our 5 gallons per hour.
Yeah, but it looks like we're only burning 1 hour and 13 minutes for time limit.
Well, that's the fuel of, oh, got it. Sure, that makes sense.
Right, that's what.
Yeah, but then scroll to where it says, oh yeah, because that's endurance. Yeah, I already filled it in. Interesting.
Right, RPM setting.
But I was wondering
I picked 5,000.
for your performance profile.
Yeah.
Yeah, because 5 gallons an hour, 30 gallons should be 6 hours. Kind of, that's interesting, but it's only calculating 4 hours, 48 minutes. It must be doing it more precisely with like the climb and.
Headwind.
Oh, and headwind, that's right, and wind correction. There we go. I like it. Yeah.
What's your fuel policy?
I put max for reserve fuel or
Yeah, where's it?
what did I pick last one? Let's do 491. 45 minutes. Cruise.
What's the sleep?
Yeah, what's the slim ball?
For maximum takeoff is 8 gallons each, or minimum takeoff, and the minimum landing is 5 gallons each, and you shouldn't fly no less than 4 gallons each. Yes. Jimbo, I have a question. Is the reason why we have a 8 gallons each for minimum takeoff because the lowest part that we can check with the dipstick, that 8 gallons?
It's right around 8 gallons, yeah.
It's
Right. You guys come in the lane too, if you have like low fuel.
Uh-huh.
May happen to be at some point, you really show low fuel. So if you come in with 5 gallons aside and you're coming in to land, it'll show like sometimes 3 or 2 gallons. Just the way it's.
Okay.
Correct.
Interesting.
Is the pickup tube for the fuel towards the front of the tank or the rear or the side?
And you know the strainer's at? Recent.
Yeah, that's right there. Yeah, good to know.
So tomorrow we'll pick up with the approach side of things. We'll talk about the alternates, and we'll get more into
Yeah,
some
we
of the
gotta go
chart
this way,
stuff.
too.
There's actually a lot left in ACS to cover.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. That's good, folks. Spent a long time on currency and all that.
3 hours.
Yeah. Well, also you're seeing like, the benefit of being on top of the stuff and knowing your ACS is then if you prove that to the examiner early on,
He can finish the.
yeah, they can just keep going. Yeah, they don't have to check every single knowledge and every single, whatever. They just have to make sure you can do each task.
You gotta make sure you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Thanks for joining, Sugar. All right, did I get everybody? Balfour, Jacob, Wayne.
That's very. Huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Certainly can. We hold on for just a second. Let me just clear up this computer and let